Call to order the Selectmen Meeting of July 22nd. First order of business, approve the minutes from last week's meeting, 2 weeks ago.
I make the motion we accept the minutes as read.
Second it. All in favor? No opposed?
Let's take a quick second to sign those, please.
Two in favor, none opposed, one absent. Next order of business is the financials. Before warrant, $92,403.65. Warrants, $18,765.45. With a payroll warrant of $839.40. Balance is $72,798.80. Old business. Next step, Reach Across America. We need to. What's that?
That's what you just.
Oh yeah. Yes, yeah. I guess. Need to talk to the lawyer Gilman, check with the right-of-way, see what we're going to have for issues.
Not only the right-of-way, but the playground too.
Right, right.
Because that's how the property was deeded to us, that
Originally.
Be a playground forever.
Had they approached you with anything this week, Nancy?
No.
No. There's that paper. Do you have the old deed, the deed for that?
I don't have a copy of it,
You
no.
have a copy of it?
No, I couldn't find one.
I had one in there. Spot on it. You don't have a copy of that, do you, bud? Copy of the deed?
I don't.
We had one, I thought we had one in here.
I can bring you a copy of that deed tomorrow if you want.
Okay.
Copy to copy.
Yeah.
Okay.
There should be a file.
I looked through the file and I couldn't find it.
Oh, that's strange.
Yeah.
Thought we had one because we had a map of that lot. And I thought the deed was attached to it. Maybe it's home.
With the original Reeves thing, you mean?
No, back when we was looking at the outcome of all that situation over there, it was her lot, you know, to help building on it. And then layout of the right-of-way and through there with a little strip of land on this side of it.
But I don't remember seeing a copy of the deed.
Yeah, I thought I had the deed
Okay.
of that.
I don't remember you did.
No, I was reading that. I don't have it in here.
Ben said something when he checked the lines out there, I helped him set the stakes up there when we done it. I don't know whether he got it, he was letting in there, whether he got it out the office or whether he had a copy of it or where he got it from.
But John says he's got one.
I haven't got the map, I don't think.
No, I have the map anyway.
Do you?
Yeah.
No,
I know I got that. But
I don't have anything at home, it would have been here, but
Yeah.
what is your question about it? I mean, the case came out that the right-of-way exists, except that where they originally wanted to cut across, which still
Right, they
gone
had to go
across her
beyond.
property, you had to go beyond that.
because of
and
the
then go around.
3-foot strip of land that you had to cross.
But if you
that
go
was
further
hers.
down the right-of-way, you become part of this piece of property without
Right.
going across Charlie.
Right where the building is there, sort
But
of.
it takes further to get there, and you have to make a sharp corner to get back.
Right.
Where the
But-
shed is?
Oh, it's closer to that, yep.
Closer to the...
The question was, they wanted to cut across here, but
Before, right,
they couldn't use her property to do that.
right.
But if you could continue down the right-of-way, you will become onto the town-owned property.
So I think that we should probably get together with her and make sure she has no issues. Is that
That's
gonna
a
stir?
possibility. What would your issue be with, if this becomes Reeves Across America's property, wouldn't it be their issue for the right-of-way?
Well, not if the town's gonna retain property for the playground and have the right of way also. Town's still gonna be involved.
We could get a right-of-way from the Reeves Across America over what we know is owned by that group, or would be owned by that group, and not need to worry about this.
Well, I just need to be assured that we're not gonna get hauled back into another court proceeding. You know, I wasn't around when any of that happened, and I don't know that.
Right, once it becomes theirs and not ours, they're not gonna haul in Columbia Falls, they're gonna haul in Reeves Across America.
Right.
But the thing is, Reeves Across America wants his issue resolved before the title is
That's right,
transferred.
that's what Karen was saying.
Well, then why wouldn't you just have a surveyor come in, drive the stakes where that right-of-way is? If it butts into this property, all said and done, and put up an 8-foot-high fence with her 3 foot blocked off. And then you're pretty well short of it if
I
a
didn't think
surveyor
that they
does it.
wanted it resolved. I only heard her say that they would most likely exercise their right for the right-of-way,
It's in the
Which
letter,
has
though,
been-
it's in that draft letter.
which has been...
I think they plan to take care of that if
Well,
and
she
when they
questioned that
become
right
owners.
away like 3 times here that night, so,
Well,
I mean,
if I could,
go ahead, John.
the issue of the right-of-way has been taken care of by the court.
Yeah.
Right, I
And
mean,
Mrs. Todd said, he's absolutely right.
Yeah.
and they know where it is, and they
And-
know it
Right,
exists,
right.
so they don't need any more
The whole
information.
issue was crossing that 3-foot strip.
But they don't have to if they go
Go
further down
beyond
the
the
right
building,
way.
right, right.
So,
That's
and they know
understandable.
that,
Yeah.
Karen knows that.
I would
But,
happily let that be Reeves Across America's problem,
The,
along with the roof and everything.
Right, right.
so,
That's all, if that property comes up that old road down there, outside that building,
Yeah.
all they gotta do is haul in the fill, cut the trees, make it nice big wide,
Oh, yeah.
swing into it.
Plenty of
And
room
put
there.
fill in,
Right.
you know,
the thing, I think, that you've got to consider is what option you exercise to, or what portion of this property you convey to Reeves Across America. I don't believe that you can convey the whole property, because I think in doing that, I mean, if I were Pam Johnstone, the minute I was aware that a deed had been recorded, giving this property to someone else, I would be in court asking for the deed, 1935 deed, which became a trust when the town accepted it. That I would be asking that trust to be vacated, and therefore the right-of-way is gone, and the right of the town to this property is questionable. I'm sure the heirs of Richard Allen are not going to come back and take the property, but the right-of-way could easily be gone. And my advice would, well, I mean, we could sit here and talk about this all night.
Right, no matter how many times this property changes hands, that right-of-way doesn't cease to exist.
Well,
Because it's already changed hands and it still exists. So, I mean, that doesn't hold any water at all.
well, I don't agree with you, but
And it wouldn't be her place to question the deed, it would be the heirs of Richard Allen, who I don't believe are gonna do any such thing.
well, if she doesn't want the right-of-way used, she can question it again if it appears that the trust is, the 1935 trust has been violated. But your lawyer, Charlie Gilbert, is the one to be looking at all of this, because he knows this property probably better than anyone else, or certainly better than anyone else, and he knows all the legal issues associated with it. And so you'd be very wise to contact him and ask him to tell you how he recommends you convey this property to Reach Across America.
I'll have a chance Wednesday to talk to him.
The only issue I see, if you don't mind me speaking,
Yes,
is
no problem.
that some portion of this needs to remain a
Playground.
playground, and they have no problem with that, I don't think.
No,
In fact,
no,
they
no,
would
absolutely
appreciate that.
not. No, right.
And Alan and I don't know if you went to the same workshop on or not, but we went to a workshop on just everything to do with being a selectman and this type of thing. And one of the things that we learned, which was really great information, is that a playground is safe from people coming and suing you. Because if not, a public playground wouldn't exist.
Right.
Nobody could have one.
No, right.
And that's how, when I first started seeing these skate parks, nobody can be crazy enough to do that. What kind of insurance must they have? They don't, because it's a public playground, and they don't have that fear of
Right.
being sued. That takes a little bit of onus off whoever does have the playground, is that as long as it stays a playground, it's, you know, somebody's in good shape.
I have one reservation dealing with Gilbert. I think probably Todd would agree with me that probably that has to be the option, but he's gonna drag it out.
I don't think that's different than most lawyers, but yes, he's definitely going to.
Well, I'll talk to him about the urgency of getting this all done when I
Right.
talk to him Wednesday.
I don't think there are many legal issues to discuss, other than somebody's going to have to write up how this is going to work, and giving the town a lifetime resident
Yeah, lease or
you know,
whatever.
lease or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it's a
If he
win-win
can
on
make it that simple.
many different
Well,
things.
yeah.
Well, but that's
I've
for
never
them to
even
do,
talked to
you
him
know, and
before,
that's,
so.
their lawyer can talk to his lawyer. In fact, I'd put it on their lawyer, and to some extent, say, you come up with something, and we'll have our lawyer look at it. Make sure it meets
Spend a
everybody's.
lot of money till you know if the town.
No, right,
really
no,
wants
no,
to-
absolutely not, but I mean,
wants to.
is he gonna, you call up and then take his time for 10 minutes, is he gonna charge you $100,
Right,
you know?
no question.
At least,
All right.
That's how they make a living.
right. Well. Any other questions or input?
Are you gonna have another public hearing? Are you
Yeah,
planning
that's
on
the,
it now, or?
well,
How was it left the other night?
the other night, everything was just brought out, what they were trying to do, and we need to start a playground committee. Well, I don't know about starting it right now, but anyway, there was, talk about getting the playground committee going and figuring out where the playground's gonna go.
So no date was set in the future?
No, there was no date set for anything.
Didn't suggest it either.
No, we just talked about getting it started as soon as we could, getting on it. So,
We wouldn't have much time to get a meeting together between now and Blueberry Season, you won't get no one around to attend it. Cause it's already almost first of August,
well,
September, first September.
still gotta get squared away, because they still need to figure out if they're gonna do stuff about the furnace. They wanna get as much of that stuff done before winter as they can, I'm sure.
Another issue that we've already put off, and it's not getting any better, the southern side of this roof.
Yeah, I believe they wanna get right on that, so.
Karen
But we
stated
don't.
the other night that if they did obtain the building, and they couldn't get grants right away, they would borrow the money
Right,
to do that,
towards the building, against the
and then,
building.
pay those back.
Right.
So it's something she knows
Yeah,
to
they-
be
they-
an immediate
They
need.
know there's a lot of fixes that need to take place.
They might have some benefactors that could drop a few money, a few dollars on that, but
Yep, that's
somebody
right,
falls on that.
right.
Can you get this done? Because at some point in time, aren't we gonna have to have a special town meeting for the snowplow contract
Right.
and whatnot?
Right.
So you
Yeah,
can do
there
it
was
all
two
in
things.
one and save money?
Yeah, there was two things that we, yep.
There's a
that's
couple
what
of
we-
things that, you can take care
all
of at the
one.
same meeting.
That's right, yeah, that would be the sensible thing, I would think, to do, Rick. Yep. So we still haven't talked about that at all either.
Right, but I think it was kind of waiting to see what was gonna happen with this, so
Right,
that it
do it all at
could all
once,
be
that's
done
right.
at once.
Yep.
Well, if you had a few questions answered by the lawyer,
Yep,
or as Philip said, Blueberry Season's right upon us.
yep,
If you had a few questions answered from the lawyer, and you had those answers ready for an early September meeting, then you could go forth and had a town meeting, not a town meeting, but had an informational meeting, and then you could set your town meeting
Right.
possibly from that.
right, a couple of weeks after that.
That would get,
Yep, I don't think you're gonna move it along any quicker.
because chances are, you're not gonna do anything about a playground between now and freeze-up. Chances are pretty good.
Yep,
And there again, Rees Across America probably doesn't care if that playground stays there till next spring.
right.
The biggest
We just
thing
wanna
you,
make sure it gets taken
the
care of.
biggest thing you're gonna have to do is have it legalized, so to speak, of where the stakes are, what part you're retaining for the
Right.
playground.
I'm talking about moving it out a little more,
I really think that maybe letting their lawyers do some of that work would be,
yeah.
wouldn't cost the town anything. And then Gilbert could just say yes, or maybe we should change a couple of items in there, but the basic document is good, or, something like that.
Right.
Let them pay some of that.
If they had something drawn up, legalized, I'm gonna say legalized or drafted
Right.
for a meeting in early September,
Yep,
There's also gonna be a time when they're not gonna be able to do a whole lot, because
Right.
their season's gonna crank up,
yep.
as far as.
And I think they wanna get it done before then.
There won't be any big changes as far as what the grounds and all that look like till next spring, I would guess.
Right.
No matter, even if they got it right this second, I don't think they'd have time to do anything.
Right. Well, she's around there about every day, isn't she, Karen?
In and out, I would say.
Yeah.
I've been talking with Marcy some too, if I need to schedule anything with Marcy, so keeps the calendar, so.
It seems to me as though I agree with what's been said. If you can get the information you need from the legal advice you need, and you can then plan a hearing, public hearing for you folks to explain to the townspeople what's going on and what you propose to do.
Right.
And then shortly thereafter, while it's still fresh in everybody's mind, excuse me, mind, schedule a town meeting.
Yep.
And I hope that when you do this, you'll advertise it properly so people will know that there's a meeting. I don't believe it was advertised properly last time.
Well, then we can, why do you not think it went in the July 3rd and the July 10th editions of the Machias Valley News Observer?
Most of the people, well, the selectmen a number of years ago voted to post notices at ABS and the post office and here at the town office, and to advertise meetings in all notices in the Down East Coastal Press, which most of the people in Columbia Falls read.
I wasn't, that was before, must have been before me, I wasn't aware of that. But it was publicized in a paper for 2 weeks.
But that's not, what I'm saying is, you know, I'm not arguing with you that you did wrong, but I'm just saying that if we know that the majority of our citizens read a particular paper, the idea of posting it is not just to cover the legal issue, it's to let people in town know so they can come here and hear what's going on. And I just hope that can be done in the future.
Well, I think, from what I understand, there's over 300 people in town that get that paper. So,
It also doesn't cost anything to put an ad in the Columbia Falls Record, and we have 600 people look at that every month.
600 people or 600 hits?
600 hits.
So if the same person looks at it 5 times.
Yeah, I think it's one person hits it 600 times.
Well, from past experience and things that we've had to publicize, unless you call house to house, you have somebody complain that they didn't know. You can make every effort possible, and there are still people that complain that they
told me
didn't
that
know.
they didn't know about it.
Right.
Jay, is there, for something of, I'm gonna say this magnitude, does MMA recommend a number of hearings you should have, public hearings on this?
Not that I know of, but
I
I've
believe
never.
it's 2.
Two,
I'm quite
okay.
sure it's 2. I'm quite certain.
I mean, so obviously, you've had one. I mean, I just wanna make sure that somebody doesn't step up to the plate after the fact and say, well, I didn't know about the 3 hearings.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, I was just wondering how many, if there was a number of hearings, that's all.
Right. Well, it's gonna be people that don't like it anyway, so. Giving away $1.5 million buildings. But,
I'm not sure you could find anybody to give you even the half on that night.
I know it. Go look around, it doesn't look like $1 million. No. Well, I can see if I can talk with Karen on Wednesday and get the lawyer rolling on it. I think we ought to at least talk to Mr. Gilbert for a few minutes about it. Anything else on this topic? Any other old business?
It's a quick claim deed for JJ.
Oh,
ahead, Jimmy.
I don't know if it falls under old business, new business, or just something that's been forgotten, but have we seen any kind of bookkeeping or accounting from the 150th Celebration Committee?
Yes, haven't we, Bill?
Well, throughout the celebration,
No.
John has given information.
The report was to be in, financials weren't to be in tonight, according to the minutes from the last meeting. The petty cash hasn't been turned over yet. And according to last minute, Mr. Tibbet said he would have paperwork tonight.
I don't believe I said that. I said that, and this is the way it will be, there will be paperwork turned into the selectmen once we have verified that all of the bills have been paid. Because we can't very well settle those accounts until we are aware that the bills have all been paid. So once the town can furnish us with a report showing that all the bills have been paid, we will be able to furnish a final report. There was no deadline for turning in petty cash. That will come in shortly. I mean, if anyone is worried about something, ask me.
Question,
Yeah.
what do we have for outstanding bills?
Nancy, did the one I brought in today get on this warrant?
Came in too late.
What is
The deadline is the Thursday before.
I had read that, so I didn't think it would.
Yeah.
So that will be on the next warrant.
Is that the last one?
Excuse me?
Is that the last bill?
I believe it is.
No.
Oh, that's right. We're still waiting on a bill for the Anna Temple trucks. And
The fireworks balance was 500,
hmm,
the balance was for the fireworks. The fireworks people, they wanted $1,000, so they were supposed to rebill.
but I thought you had,
No, I never received the balance due unless the town did, no.
no, but I thought they were
They were
supposed to
email it.
send that.
Yes.
So, I mean, those are the things that are holding us up, because I had assumed
Who was
that.
supposed to email it?
The fireworks.
Oh,
Question,
Yeah.
why would we have to wait now for a bill from Anna Temple? What's the problem there?
Can't get them to fax it.
Pardon?
We can't get them to fax it.
They
Because I don't
they
think they
want us to
usually
pay the
bill,
bill?
do they? They just ask for a check there at the event, so.
No, they had to give a bill, and they were told that well in advance in order for the check to be issued, because you have to know who to write the check to and then where to send it. And they were all told that the others did it with no trouble.
Yeah, we already paid for 2 units that were here,
And they all heard the same story. Inside, I can't get them to.
May I ask which units you're waiting for?
Anna Temple Trucks?
The 18-wheeler type truck?
Who's the
Yeah,
chair?
Wheelers.
Who is the
The-
chairman of that?
I forget his name. I have his cell number. I've only hounded him to death every single week, a couple of times a week.
Oh, I can't remember which one it is.
Jonesport, but I can't think of his name either.
so,
I can't get him to fax it.
once these things are,
I don't want to stir up a hornet's nest, and I don't mean this, but I'd like to ask the question. There was, you folks, which I'm told did a fantastic job, and I'm not questioning that or anything else. You folks raised a sum of money, and I don't know what it is, and because I haven't seen the financials or anything else. Has all of that money been turned over to the town?
all except the petty cash, yes.
I mean, to write checks. Because what I was saying, and it's bugged me for a long while, is a month or so ago, month and a half ago, whatever it was, there was a discussion here one night about Lenny not writing the checks and everything else. at the appropriate time, I guess or what was felt the appropriate time or whatever. And my only concern at that time is why, I guess I was questioning in my mind, why the town was writing all of these checks when the town only raised $5,000 to cover it.
Well,
And I was, no, hear me out. What I was wondering is if the committee had turned over all of their money at that point to write those checks.
we had to.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah. All the checks for everything that we did.
Okay.
Except for small petty cash
Mm-hmm.
expenses that a group would normally have. So it's all accounted for in the town records for them. Well, except for those bills that have not been paid.
I guess another question would be, would you think you were in the black or the red?
Oh, we're well in the black.
Yeah, we're gonna
We'll turn
over.
a number of $1,000s back to the town.
Yeah.
Probably $4,000 to $5,000 back to the town.
We raised a lot of money on our own.
About how much?
And I will add that I attended a elected officials workshop at UMM just recently, and any committee is subject to the same right to know laws that the town is. So if anybody did want to request any part of what's already been done, they can do that. And it needs to be fulfilled within the same amount of reasonable time that the town has to do that with the right to know law.
Well, and the town can do that, because all those money is passed through the town. So it wouldn't be a problem with it. I'm not trying to withhold a final report. I would be the happiest person in town to be able to be rid of all of this, but I can't give someone a final report till all those bills are paid and the accounts are finalized. But I'd be just delighted to be rid of it. The sooner the better.
I understand. Mike is a Shriner, right? Could he find out for us who that person would be that we need to contact?
I think Grace has the contact information, they're just not getting back to
I have
her.
contact information, but he's just not responding.
You must have a name.
He does, but it's at home and it's not anybody I know. So,
Well, I think the time is going to come when we're going to have to simply say that if people have not submitted their bills, we're going to finalize the accounts and, you know.
Well, times have changed. I'm sure they may do things different nowadays, but I know as past secretary of the Minicare unit, we never sent out a bill to anybody. We told them what it would be, and all they did is they made the check out to the unit for the amount, whatever it was. I mean, Eastport, Lubec, the whole of them. All we did is, at that time, and I don't know what it is now, and that's neither here nor there, it was $400 back then.
we were
Yeah.
just
Well, they had-
trying to comply with what the
they had
town
3
officer
units.
requested.
Yep.
Involved, and the other 2 sent bills and paid. This one is the only one that didn't do
Yep.
it.
We need the name and the address, that's the
Minicare unit, the
issue here.
boats
We have
too,
no
right,
idea
they-
where to send a check.
The boats were,
I will
If you get that name to Ricky or Mikey, the one
get
that
it to
they can
me
give a
or
call.
whatever, or, you know, I'll check with one of the guys.
It'll be in your anagram.
It's in my anagram, I'm sure. All I gotta do is do some looking, and I can find out who the secretary of the unit is, and see what I can do, and I will I will let Nancy know.
If you get a name, an address to us.
Yep.
We've paid the other 2 units.
Is there, I don't know, and I'm asking, is there any other paperwork other than the name of the unit you need and the address?
Well, yes, I mean, we need something, in order for the town to pay a bill, they have to have a voucher, something that proves that the money needs to be spent.
Okay,
And if we have customary, the other 2 units agreed to $250.
okay.
So that's kind of what we're expecting, that one will be, but whatever they...
Well, I, like I say, I will go home and I'll do some checking, and I will see if they won't send a bill, send me an email. I don't care if they just send me an email saying for Columbia Falls celebration, it was X amount of dollars, and I'll bring it down, or, you know, whatever,
That
but,
would be great.
So do you want me to call you tonight, Rick, with that information of who I'm
No.
calling, or?
look, I'll give you a call in a day or two. Give me a day or two to
Okay,
find out who it is, and you know. Because if nothing else, if I can't find it, then tomorrow I'll call the recorder's
his
office in
contact.
Bangor, and they'll tell me.
yeah.
Who, well, you could just give him that,
Captain or something?
Yeah,
she's got a name or a number she's calling.
yeah. And I probably know who it is, but I'm drawing a blank. But a lot of times, if you go to the secretary, it's like most organizations.
You get it done.
Yep.
I don't have the secretary, I have the captain or something.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good, thank you.
Any more old business?
I don't have any.
Is that
You, Nancy?
New business? Approve August calendar.
Blueberry time,
Same.
unfortunately.
Are you gonna change the hours here, so it'll come in every day? Aren't you working on this?
I will some, so I've put myself at 2 Saturdays from 8 until 12 to help offset a few afternoons that I'd like to close early. And hopefully it will be, we have a smallish year this year, so hopefully it won't last that long.
Any questions about the calendar? Then I make the motion, we accept the calendar as read.
Second it? All those in favor? 2 in favor, none opposed, 1 absent. Calendar is accepted. Any other new business?
I don't have any new business either.
I have some new business. The town has a Facebook page now?
Yes.
Nancy? Who'd you talk to about that?
Excuse me, I have an ear infection, I'm not hearing well. Would you repeat that?
Town has a Facebook page?
What the town does?
Yeah, and you're right, I didn't contact anybody, and I apologize for that. It's just informational only. Almost any business or municipality or group now has that. That's a sign of the times. If it's a problem, then I certainly can post that it is and can take it down.
Well, we had, a few years back here, we had a big issue with Facebook, because they started a page. How long ago was that? Anybody remember?
Town had a
Got shut down.
website, but I don't remember a Facebook
Yeah, they
page.
started a Facebook page. And it caused a whole bunch of turmoil. I have some scripts off of that, but not very nice. And it was the town site. I'm not a Facebooker, I don't go on Facebook. Every time I get something off of there, it's a bunch of malarkey. So, I'm against it. Myself. How do you feel about it, man?
I have a computer, I don't use it. So
Yeah, I use
if I used it, I wouldn't make it available either. But I do have your concern. What I'm hearing about Facebook is, a lot of it's not positive.
May I ask a
Talked to
question?
Alan about it, and he wasn't, nobody said anything to him about it, and he said to me that it doesn't want to be on town site or town time, so, and you can
None
ask
of
him.
it's been done on town time, it's done on my own personal
Well, I
time.
didn't say it was, we had a conversation about it over the phone. And so, go ahead, Ricky, yes.
I like that page, Nancy's page, from what's been on it so far. And I think probably Nancy controls whether it can be commented on or not. As an administrator, you can control what is put on your page. From what's been on there right now, it has been all informational. When that meeting was, I didn't make it the other night, I forgot about it. She put one on there today, saying the Selectmen's Meeting was tonight. I mean,
We would see that before we would,
How long we had
the
that?
paper, because we don't
But
take
you
any of
guys
the
use
paper.
Facebook.
Right.
There's a lot of people that don't. Me one of them.
okay,
we
classic
don't get the
example,
paper.
Jay. I don't buy the Machias Valley, I don't buy the countywide.
Me neither.
If it's used properly, it's another source to inform your citizens. I don't think it should get into a shouting match or anything else on there. I totally disagree with that.
How do you control that?
Your administrator.
You cannot, if I'm right, a page is set up as a group or administrator, if she is the only administrator, then anything you put, if I wrote something on that page, it would not immediately come up on that page. She has to approve it. Or whoever your administrator is.
Nancy, can
Just
you-
like Chuck's page. I think if I write a comment on Chuck's page, before it's on his page, it goes through him. Am I right, Chuck?
Geez, I didn't think so. I think you have the ability to take it down, but I don't know that you have an
Your page,
opportunity.
information only.
Yes.
So there's no commenting, there's no,
Well,
You
it's,
can, but that can be disabled.
yeah.
there's no comments, and it's just a information site.
By the way it's written, it invites comments right now.
How long you had this, Nancy?
I just started it last week, the end of last week. But I can certainly write on there that it wasn't approved and it can be discontinued.
Well, can we, table it for 2 weeks, this conversation, and see how it goes?
Whatever you decide.
Yeah. Yep, we make a motion, we table this discussion until the next meeting.
Before I second that, I want to understand, we're tabling the discussion, but we will let Nancy continue the Facebook and see if there's any problems.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay. Second, those in favor? Those opposed? 2 in favor, none opposed, 1 absent. Other new business,
No, I don't think.
business. Offices, officials and committees. handbook for Tony Santiago, Union Hall.
Okay, well, Tony wanted me to bring a couple of items, he couldn't make it tonight. So, we met last Thursday, we had a couple of things to discuss, so we bring them forward to you.
Yeah, I'm having trouble hearing.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
The first on the agenda for our meeting last Thursday was at Dick Grant. Tony reported the Down East correctional workers are painting inside and out. The outside is the west side and the windows towards Rick Campbell's. And the inside is the stage ceiling, the stage floor, and they are painting, scraping, and corking the windows, or not corking, like mudding or puttying the windows to preserve them as best they can. That's working out well. The next thing is Dick Grant has donated another 2 antique posters. The committee would like to recommend that the selectmen approve the cost to frame the posters for future display in the Union Hall. The estimated cost to frame both of them is approximately $250 to $300. This money we would like to come out of our Union Hall earned money account that's held outside the Treasury. And we'd like to know if we can proceed with that to frame those 2 posters. A while back, Mr. Grant gave us another poster, our first poster, and I think it was up during the celebration might even have been up at town meeting too. It's a long poster and it's all nicely framed and matted. So they would like to proceed and preserve these 2 posters that Dick gave us. So that's one item. And then the last item that we would like the selectmen to approve or disapprove, to inform the selectmen that the inmates might be willing to repair the benches that are down at the Union Hall. You know, there's 2 cement benches with...
The outside ones?
Yes, yeah, and they're moved up now by the river, out by the landing there. And we've noticed that they're they're rotting, moldy, and so forth. So he was wondering, or we were wondering, he said it should take 2 by 4s for each bench. I think I'm not sure how many 2 by 4s for each bench. I think it's maybe 6, 3 on the seat and 3 on the back. But since the inmates have them there, we were wondering if they would be able to repair those 2 benches. And
So we fix the other one?
There's 4 benches altogether.
Yeah, that's
are
right,
there
there's
4
another one
benches
too.
there, Charlie?
One down at the old town hall.
Right.
Old
And
fire
one down at
station.
town landing.
Oh, so
They're
there's 4 benches,
And they're
yes.
all in
They're all
equal, the
dilapidated.
wood is all in equal state of disrepair.
All rotted.
Not
So-
rotted, but they need use.
Yeah, so we were wondering if we could get those benches addressed. And,
The money's coming from the money they raised.
no, we would like to recommend that they would come out of buildings and grounds. Since the benches, we've got 2 at the Union Hall, and then as Charlie said, 1 down at the community room, and then 1 right at the boat landing. And they're all,
So it was $300 for the frame,
yeah, $250 to $300 for the framing.
and
And
then the
that
2 by
would come
4s.
out of your account.
Yes,
Yes,
Tony
that's-
recommends that would come out of the earned money account.
Stuff for the benches.
What was the estimate for the benches?
He didn't have an estimate here. He said it should take 8, oh, here it is. It should take 8 2 by 4s for each bench. So it must be 4 on the top, 4 on the seat.
Would those be rough, or?
They used plain ones before, and they used 10-footers, and if a kid sat in the middle of them, they'd have broke.
Yeah.
if you do anything, my recommendation would be to shorten them up to about 8 foot, and that's pushing it. 'Cause you're gonna
Slide them together, you mean? Yeah, slide the end pieces together.
yeah, 'cause they're way too, I mean, they're too springy.
Bouncy.
And with today's 2x4, they ain't clay and you don't get the strength out of them that you used to either, so. I mean, but there again, they didn't specify a length, so. But I know Tony and I had talked about it last year when we moved them up there, one thing or another. And that was what I told him then, that, you know, they're awful springy. There again, not many people ever sat on them that I ever knew of, so maybe it's a non-issue.
Ricky, you think $300 for those 2x4s,
Oh, I would think so.
at least?
4 benches.
32 of them, right?
But this is just
32 2x4s.
6 on each one? Thought I counted
You
that
said
one
8
down
on
to
each?
8.
4 on the
8 on
seat,
each
4
one.
on the
Yeah,
back.
4 on the back, 4 on the seat.
So 8 times, you know, say $3 a piece. I mean, and that's more than enough, $3 a piece, I believe.
Right.
So you're not talking a large amount of money.
No.
If they said $200, they'd have plenty, right?
I would suspect that would be plenty.
Well, it's 32 2x4s, so.
Yeah.
Would you recommend, pressure treated at all on those, or no? Not worth it? No.
It's not that they're not worth it, Pam. Pressure-treated lumber, in my opinion, over time, it rots from the inside out.
Oh,
And to me, it doesn't have the structural strength
oh,
that regular lumber has.
I see.
And if you were to sit on there and get a splinter.
And if you get a splinter, they're poisonous.
Oh, so
So-
if you just, like, paint them, or once they're, after they're installed or whatever, you know,
Yep.
care for them,
I mean,
they should be.
now, let me qualify something. I said about the 2x4s, and that's what Tony said. If you buy something that will last, like Douglas fir 2x4s, then you're talking more money. I don't know what he is thinking, and I'm not gonna pretend to know.
Right.
So, it could be more than what I'm saying.
How
If
long
it's-
were those ones on there? You remember when those were put on?
Oh, my God,
A while.
I don't know, Jay. I mean,
Some of them were fine, there was at least 1 or 2 on each one that was junk.
I think there's a little plaque on each one that would have to be restored back on to the new wood, but I think it was 98 maybe, or 2000, those were all put up, because that's what I believe the plaque says, so.
and they may have been replaced in the meantime.
No, that's true.
You know, so.
Yeah,
Well, anyway, so,
well,
Buildings and grounds, Nancy, have we drawn out of that account to any degree?
I'd have to go look it up. I'm not positive what. But I could go look it up. I don't think there's been a great
No.
deal spent out of buildings and grounds yet this year. I really don't. There's some lights down to the town hall, and I'm not even sure now, but I don't think a great deal.
these lights
So,
here on this building, yeah.
So could we put a limit on it?
Yeah, just, why not?
What would be the feeling, Nancy, Sam,
32.
if we put a limit on that, on the, two-of-us?
for the materials,
Yes.
I would assume that would be fine. Whatever you gentlemen would say, that would be,
Now, you mentioned $300, and what if we went for was it the Douglas fir? Was it-
If they went with Douglas fir, I haven't priced any out bun since I did Tony's house over there. I mean,
There's 32 of them.
they could be a little bit more. I mean,
So 500 would cover it.
32,
Well-
$5 would be,
Right, I mean, if there's 32
$5
of them,
would be $150.
yeah.
at $10 a piece, they'd only be $320.
yeah. So, I mean, I would suspect it would be, I'm not gonna stick my neck way out there, but yeah, it should be more than enough.
I mean, if you figured like $10 a piece would be the limit, then
Then, I move that we accept both accounts. One that they draw out of their own funds, and one that we put, $300 limit.
Yep, for the benches, out of, buildings and grounds. Yep, second the motion. All those in favor? All those opposed? None opposed? Two in favor, one absent.
And if I may, our next meeting is Thursday night at Dave Grant at 6 p.m. and all is welcome. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Nancy?
I've decided I would rather not speak, thanks.
Okay.
I didn't hear that, Nancy.
I've decided not to speak, thank you.
Oh,
No citizens' requests? Make a motion, we adjourn until Monday, August 12th. At 7 o'clock.
motion?
All those in favor? In favor, none opposed, one absent.